Hi, welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, welcome back, welcome back. And you already know, welcome back. I like those of you that are returning, so that's why I give you an extra greeting. And today, we will not be doing the regular pick a card. We will just be receiving messages to see what the energy is, what spirit, God, the universe has for you, and give you a little insight today. So I see that many of you are coming into knowing your strengths, or you're questioning, do you know all of your strengths? And are you using all of your strengths? For a lot of you, because you're just learning some of these strengths and abilities that you have, you may not be fully aware of your capabilities to actually use them as superpowers. Many of you are uncovering them. And when we live and lead with our strengths, we're able to show up in a very unique way, in a way that makes you feel empowered, in a way that allows you to inspire others to do the same. So your homework or your soul's action for today as a collective reading is to ask yourself, how can I use one of my soul's gifts? How can I use one of my soul's gifts today to contribute to this open and ready world? So I'm getting this energy that many of you are humanitarians, and even if you're not in the humanitarian sector, then you have this energy of like an empath and or being able to help others. So your soul has been gifted with many strengths, many abilities is what I'm getting. And as you're becoming more aware as a collective of these strengths, of these gifts that your soul has, many of you are wanting to know or start to utilize and be able to contribute them, to contribute your soul's gifts to the world in general. Okay, and so that's for some of you. Now, for some of you, you're not coming into your strengths because you're shamed. Some of you feel like you're buried in shame. And the question you would ask yourself is, am I ready to let go of this shame, of the buried shame? For some of you, this shame is deep within your psyche. For others of you, this is shame that is deep within your shadow. Like you haven't explored these parts of you. For some of you, this shame comes due to sexuality. And wanting to explore, and or for some of you, I'm getting you want a healthy, mature way of expressing your intimacy, your sexuality, your passion. But you don't want to do it in a way that the world has set forth for in a way that makes you feel weakened, in a way that makes you feel less empowered. What I'm getting for many of you is that you want a more spiritual, empowered way of expressing yourself when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to sexuality. Because many of you have been frustrated in relationships. And some of you, where this buried shame is coming from, is that you lack confidence. Confidence in the fact that you'll be able to express yourself or have someone who loves you fully, wholly, the same way that you love yourself. Some of you, this shame is coming from your ego and ego issues. Not having enough confidence to express to someone that you like them, for some of you. For some of you, I get something about flirting and being very seductive. Like some of you may have hang-ups or be hung up on being seductive. Like I'm feeling like some of you are very magnetic. And those of you who recognize that you're very magnetic, even with a sexual type of energy, even though you're not wanting to be sexual to others, some may see you in that aspect and feel that it is okay to tempt you in certain ways, or they feel tempted by you. Take it as it resonates. For some of you who are not in shame, you're recognizing that there is something your soul is calling you to learn in this moment. Now, this could be a pattern that's ready to be broken for some of you about sexuality, for some of you about seduction. For some of you, it's a pattern of not feeling like you're enough. Possibly when it comes to sexuality. Oh, do we have to go here today? I'm getting that some of you, this is going to get deep. Okay. Some of you, I'm getting have opened yourself up to an abundance of partners. And you felt like you had to play your part or deal the hand, use the cards you were dealt, is what I was going to say with hand of cards here. So some of you took a chance. You took a chance and you thought that it would be more of intimacy. For some of you, take the messages as they resonate. It's not for everyone, but for many of you, it just turned out to be sex. Even if you were looking for a more mature type of intimacy, it didn't turn out that way for some of you, and that's why you have this buried shame. For some of you, it is time to heal that shame. It's time to bring it to the light, to bring it out of the shadow aspects of yourself, to let it be healed. It's like it's time for you to revive yourself, to have this season now of, instead of being shamed of intimacy and your sexuality, instead of being shamed to the fact that you're very seductive. And this seduction or seductiveness is not like you're, wow, I just heard, many would literally call you a plain Jane, but there's something that is very attractive about your energy, about your essence. Some people have put you into shame by getting you into a third party. For some of you, again, this is a general reading. I'm giving you all of the messages and I'm giving you them from both aspects. Okay, so take it as it resonates. Some of you that have been feeling this shame, you felt like you weren't enough, and it's because you were not enough, because you were dealing with someone that put you into third party situations. Someone who was constantly tempted by the sexuality of others. That's for some of you. Now, there's this other essence of you, group of you, that you've healed. You're wanting mature intimacy, and this could be for the group that is shamed also, like you're coming into a cycle. You're coming into a cycle now where you're wanting to now experience more maturity when it comes to intimacy, sexuality. You now know that you have more options. You don't just have to take what someone says when they're telling you you're not enough. You don't have to just be frustrated in your relationships. you can now be more confident to take a chance and show someone that you like them, to actually allow romance to bloom, to actually start to have fun flirting and dating again. For some of you, many of you have been, because of shame, not dating, not having fun, not flirting, not opening up yourself to the fact that there are people who are expressing to you that they like you, or you're wanting to express to someone that you like them, but you don't know how to fully express yourself. Self-expression here. For some of you, it's because of this shame behind your emotions. For others of you, you're not sure exactly what it means when someone is flirting with you. And for some of you, that's because you have been dealing with not so mature people when it comes to sexuality, or at least not compatible with you and the way that you would like to experience intimacy, sexuality, even being seductive. But there is a completion that is happening to that cycle, where you are stepping now into being able to express yourself, where you're now taking time to, I heard, vet people out to see if they are mature when it comes to sexuality and intimacy. That's for some of you. Shame around anything, sexuality, around money, around intimacy, around not expressing yourself. Shame is one of the lowest frequencies there is. When you live in shame, you live in darkness, and that's why it's time to bring this to the light now, to shed light on certain things, and to tap into now the light of your I am presence, where you're speaking that you are enough, where I am enough, where you're saying I am sexual, I have a magnetic sexuality and I own it. I choose mature partners. I choose intimacy with mature partners. I am worthy of a mature, intimate relationship. And it's all about you keeping a positive mindset about what it is that you want. Keeping gratitude and tapping into that blissful side of yourself. The more you're abundant in yourself and the way that you express yourself, the more you call forth that energy of being able to show your strengths. Many of you are going to need to tap into your I am presence as you are intending and creating with the high priest here. The high priest energy is all about taking action on using your strengths, taking action to fully know your strength and use them, so that you can bring this cycle to completion of feeling like you're not enough, that you're not worthy, to bring in a new cycle of where you are able to express to someone that you like them, to bring in a cycle where you're allowed to allow romance to bloom, a cycle of where you're able to be fun, flirty, have dates, get to know other people. For some of you, it's time for you to intend and create your destiny. It's funny, this destiny card, when I read the backstory on this, as you see there is the black and the white there. It also kind of represents the yin and the yang. So the other half, and in this story of destiny, there were these couple here, and one was told by their spirit team, the Most High, that in this lifetime that partner would not be able to be there with them, and they spoke clearly, set an intent to create communication with their guides to let them know that they would prefer their destiny to be even in this lifetime together. And it was so granted. And as you see, this gray here is all about the crown chakra. So it's about connecting with source as you are tapping into your high priest energy, as you're taking actions and allowing certain completions to be over. This completion is happening in your sacral chakra with the orange here. So some of you have had this cycle of being very, I heard the word promiscuous when it comes to sexuality. Now, we all have free will. You are capable, willing, able to live your life as you choose. But what I'm getting, this energy is that many of you who have been very, we'll say, exploratory, very exploratory with your sexual energy, sacral chakra here, are now wanting to go into a new cycle. That's why you have completion here. You want that cycle to be completed, and you now want to connect with a soulmate, is what I'm getting in this present lifetime. You want someone who, yes, you're sexually attracted to. They have sexuality, and yes, they may be very seductive. But you also want to feel very abundant within this relationship. Abundant, and where it feels mature. Mature, and where you're able to see each other's point of view, side of view, each other's compassion. Impartiality here. This is also another of connecting with the divine, where you're seeing from a higher point of view. So what I'm getting is, with this reading, and I didn't expect this to go here, many of you have been experiencing cycles of immature sexuality, cycles where you may not have been very partial to your partner, or your partner has not been very impartial to you, not taking your needs into account, or some of you have not been accountable about where you've been placing your sexual energy and how much of your sexual energy you've been using. For some of you, I'm getting your sexual energy is very strong. It is one of your strengths, but how are you using it? Are you just throwing it all free willy-nilly? That's okay. We go through cycles, right? What I'm getting, though, is that many of you are stepping into a cycle now of where you want a higher vibrational relationship. You don't want the immaturity. You don't really want to just be in, around, and about with anyone. You want a new journey. You're ready to let certain cycles end as you intend and create a way that you're able to express yourself, to where you're feeling abundant, to where you're willing to take a chance, to where you're willing to say, I like you, and may we explore allowing this romance to bloom. Take the messages as they resonate. You're now ready to take the journey of mature intimacy. Many of you were very complacent before with how you would go into partnerships. Not vetting people out for some of you. Willing to go ahead and tap into sexual energy before you actually new a person, we have the root chakra here, and then we have the sacral chakra. So this complacency allowed you to go into your sexual energy because someone was seductive, or because they just said I like you, and you were like, oh, they like me. Let's find out what we can do. Let's see if we can get it popping. Sexuality. But now I'm getting, you're putting an end to the cycle of complacency. It's coming to a completion of just overusing your sacral energy. And you're now taking this journey to find mature intimacy. I keep hearing mature intimacy is what you're intending to create, is what you're wanting to take action on, is how you're wanting to fully express yourself. You're wanting to take this journey and feel like the sun is shining again. So I'm getting for some of you that you've been into some dark relationships, and that's where that shame has come from. But it's time to now step into the dawn, to allow the sun to fully shine on those darker aspects of yourself, to get grounded and connect with Mother Earth, to sow different seeds when it comes to intimacy and sexuality. It's time for you to be an internal explorer, to explore yourself internally, not just in an outward type of way. Like many of you have expressed your ways sexually. Like that was the way you knew how to express yourself. That's what? What? I just heard that's the way you guys solved problems. So wow, here we go. So if there was a problem in the house, you just figured your partner, take it man or woman, was upset, and later on you'd fix it in the bedroom. That's going to be the nice way of me saying that. But it's now time, what I'm getting, to stop, to take a look, to stop looking outside of yourself and surrender to the softer inner side of yourself, to focus on the inner. See, this is what this like meditation, and it's time to get still, to focus on a softer side, the softer side of you, like not the side that's so amped up and ready to go and get it. Ooh, like that's what I'm hearing. That's what it's like. I'm feeling two types of energy. It's like you, some of you are coming out of this cycle. Some of you are still contemplating and you're still somewhat in this cycle. And this is why you're being encouraged to stop. Completion. To allow this cycle to complete, stop. Look inside. Because many of you externally use your high priest energy. You take action, and the action most of you take is through sex. You feel like sex can solve everything. The person's just, your partner's just mad at the moment, and you'll just put it on them later and it'll be all good. That was the mindset of some of you. Take it as it resonates. This message is getting wild. But it's time for you to become the internal explorer. When you stop looking outside of yourself, when you stop and surrender to the softer inner voice, the softer inner focus of yourself, you will then, collective, be able to access different type of information, unlimited information and resources as to how you can allow these cycles to complete. Do you see the Merkaba here? Right there. There's a Merkaba there. So it's now time for you to tap into your inner spaceship, your inner information, your inner resources. And this is also the Eye of Ra there. So this is where that sun energy is coming in for many of you. You may need to get outside into nature and not just ground, but get some sunshine to see things from a higher perspective with the wings there and the falcon. To stop thinking that I don't want to say that you know everything, but that many of you have come to a certain level of knowing things, of knowing how to please people sexually, of knowing certain, I just heard esoteric information. But there's always more to learn, is what I'm getting. More to learn about intimacy, more to learn about your destiny, more to learn about abundance, more to learn about maturity. It's like, stop thinking that you've reached the ceiling, because there's always more to explore. There's always more to expand. You see, we have access to multidimensional wisdom. So for some of you, the sexuality and the shame has come because you tapped into what this realm, this 3D dimension, says sexuality should be. But there is a multidimensional aspect or wisdom that comes from the collective consciousness. So when it comes to intending and creating, you are able to tap into this multidimensional wisdom. Everything is there, and it's within you, and it's waiting for you to fully express. Self-expression by tapping into what's within you. By tapping into what's within you and connecting with the multidimensional collective consciousness. For those of you this message is resonating with, you're being invited to explore the state of flow. And this state is where you are infinitely being who. This state is where you are infinitely and amazingly being who you are. One who can access the collective consciousness, especially when you surrender. Surrender some of the control. That's that glass ceiling where you feel like you know pretty much everything there is to know. It's time for you to surrender some of that control, because there's a greater process occurring at this time. And with this greater process that's occurring, it's time for you to get out of your own way. Like, you have permission to fully express yourself. Go within and explore the wonderful gifts that are waiting for you, is what I'm getting. And for some of you, this exploring, whoa, that's a lot. Okay, I'm gonna take them. Let's see. It's a lot though. This exploring is going to allow you to tap into your power, your inner power. It's going to allow you to shed light on any chaos that is within you, any karma that needs to be released, healed. Time to take a little bit of time in solitude so that you can go within and nurture yourself. Solitude to get grounded. Solitude to connect with your ancestors. As you are becoming the internal explorer, your ancestors are inviting you to explore this state of flow. They're inviting you to know that you can access this collective consciousness where you can tap in with them. They're inviting you to surrender some of this control to the greater process. Some of you have ancestors, I'm getting, that are of Lemurian descent. There's something about Mount Shasta and how when Lemuria was destroyed, that the people traveled to other parts of the globe. Something about Mount Shasta, and some of you are either planning a trip there, have wanted to plan a trip there, are finding out new creations about Mount Shasta's, wanting to be innovative. Mount Shasta is a place where some of you want to journey, is what I'm getting. And there are some really phenomenal and multidimensional aspects about Mount Shasta. This is actually a place. If you haven't looked it up, maybe some of you want to look it up if this reading is resonating for you. Visiting there or tapping into that energy of Mount Shasta and the multidimensional energy that it has could assist many of you in building your world, could assist you in networking with your ancestors, especially if you're connected to the Lemurian lineage. For some of you, you have origins of the Lemurians, is what I'm getting. And it's time to honor and look more deeply into your ancestry, both your bloodline and your etheric lineage. This is going to assist you with building your world, but it is also going to assist you with new creations and innovation. It's going to assist you with connecting with the earth energy in a different type of way. The energy around Mount Shasta is considered to be a phenomenon for many of you. Some of you may have an affinity with being a star being, a multidimensional architect, connecting with the cosmos and that side of your star seed lineage. Connecting with them now, as this message is resonating with you, might allow you greater insight into your traits, into your strengths. As we had that, do you know all of your strengths? Into your strengths and into your challenges. Mount Shasta and the Lemuria lineage is for many of you, I'm getting is being attracted. Like you're being attracted to that place. You're being called by intuitive messages, or you've been receiving intuitive messages about Mount Shasta, about Lemuria, about your ancestry, about your star seed traits, about being a star being, about building a new world, and about innovations that can come for you when tapping into that energy. You may find that some of your needs will be met by connecting more with your star seed energy, with those star beings. It could assist you with learning from your mistakes. Any mistakes that made you feel shame or guilt. Any mistakes that you feel around sexuality, any mistakes you feel about expressing yourself fully, any mistakes that you've made that made you feel like you're not enough. It's time to tap into your I am presence so that you can enjoy life again, knowing that you are enough, knowing that those mistakes can actually be beneficial. One of the best ways to learn is to actually experience a thing. And because you've actually experienced it, you can grow and evolve from it. And as you're growing and evolving from it, you can actually assist another or others to grow and evolve from some of those same mistakes. And allow yourself to be free as you help others to be free. For many of you, knowing and connecting with these star beings will assist you in this freedom. Will assist you in knowing that you are enough. Will assist you with knowing more about your destiny as you're transforming. As you're moving through any illusions and you're shifting more into this awareness about being connected with star beings, as you're receiving greater insight into your traits, as you're receiving greater insight into your strengths, as you're receiving greater insight and awareness as to how to use your strengths, your traits, your abilities to be able to contribute to this world in a way where you're able to express yourself fully and completely. So that has been the message for today. It was just a quick one. For many of you who are resonating with the Lemurian energy and or wishing to explore the fact or any wisdom about being a star being, you're being encouraged to tap into that multidimensional awareness, because it can cause a great shift, a shift that allows you to see through many illusions, a shift that allows certain cycles to come to completion where you can step into fuller cycles of abundance, of destiny, of awareness, cycles of self-expression, of freedom, of new creations, of innovations, new cycles of where you're able to build your world, create, expand, and even network. Some of you are going to be networking with etheric lineage, is what I keep hearing. Etheric lineage. That has been your reading. I want to thank you for joining me, Tonae Star. And you know what we say, always shoot for the moon. You may find that etheric lineage there. And even if you don't, you're still amongst the stars. And of course, to always let your light shine bright. Do what? Let your light shine bright. Always let your light shine bright. Do what? Let your light shine bright. Yo, thank you for joining me. And you know what to do. Hit that like button because it costs you nothing. And it allows for the messages to get out to the collective. And subscribe so that you don't miss a message. Thank you for joining me.